All right, this is not a debate stage.
It is not.
Nope, this is Shelby County. Thank you so much for joining us for Shelby County Votes 2026. Your county, your vote, you decide. I'm Ruben Diaz.
And I'm Pepper Baker. Now, with the Shelby County primary approaching, the decisions being made will shape our schools, our safety, and our future.
Yeah, instead of politicians talking over each other tonight, we're going to try to do something a little bit different than that. Give you a little something different. We want your questions, your concerns, your community front and center. Now, there are more than 24 races in this Shelby County May primary. Tonight, we're focusing on these key races: county mayor, county clerk, county sheriff, and Memphis-Shelby County School Districts 1, 6, 8, and 9.
Now, we also have a panel of guests here with political insight into these races. I'll be joining them shortly. We have ABC 24's political analyst Otis Sanford, Shelby County Democratic Party Chair Willie Simon, and Lane Provine, the Shelby County Republican Party consultant. We will hear from them in just a few minutes. But first, we asked you to tell us what matters most. Whether you voted in every election for decades or this is your first time paying attention, this is your moment to be heard.
Yeah, so because this election doesn't belong to the candidates, let's keep it real, it belongs to you, the people at home. ABC 24 anchor Yvonne Cooper joins us now with the most pressing issues on voters' minds this election season.
During this crucial primary election, we wanted to speak directly to voters. We asked, what are some of the main issues facing Shelby County voters? And here's what some of you said.
Hi, I'm Coco Chanel, and I reside in a North Memphis neighborhood, which is North Hollywood and Jackson. Well, the most important issue that I would like to revolve around the issue is the drug rate. Like, it's so many women's that I see, black melanated women's, young men, and it's, you know, it's sad. They're 19 and up and they doing, you know, all type of drugs, and I just feel like they need a home, Medicaid, insurance, and someone who loves them, you know. So that's what I feel like we need to put our issue on, is the drug rate.
Hi, my name's Eric. I live here in Midtown. Most precious issue that I've experienced personally would be people breaking into cars, smashing windows, and stealing some of the contents from the cars in our parking lot. So that's the only one that's really relevant to me.
Good afternoon. I am Jay Eppian, and we are in the middle of Cooper Young, a neighborhood that I have been in and out of since 1989. Now, there are issues in all areas. And I always say it's not a Cooper Young issue, it's a national issue. And that is, we've had our fair shake of crime and kids that are, for some of my neighbors, a little bit overactive in the community. But I am fully immersed in building this community.
As you can tell, crime is a huge concern. In fact, it's been a headline nationwide after the announcement of the Memphis Safe Task Force. In February, the Shelby County District Attorney's Office claimed that the crime rate is decreasing and that cases are moving through the court system faster. According to the DA's 2025 impact report, overall crime dropped by 16%, and there was also a 21% decrease in violent crime. However, many community advocates believe that long-term safety depends on investments by supporting the future of our communities.
Crime. Now, whether people feel that or not, I think is one of the challenges of how do we engage and how do we talk about crime in our community. And then on the other side, what do we do on the other side of crime as a symptom, not as the end-all be-all of creating safety in our community.
Investing in the future of our youth is a very important issue to Shelby County voters. After all, they are our future. With concerns over crime and education, we wanted to hear from you and to learn how leaders should invest in our children.
My name is Mr. Bankroll. I'm from Midtown, and what I do for my neighborhood is I just want us to come together as one. Us to come together and come back together as one to make the neighborhood better for the youth, and have all of us together as one under God's eyes. And to clean the neighborhood up, let's get these young folks together. Let's bring them together and show them that we can be greater leaders at this stage.
My name is Ruby, and I would say the most pressing issue in my neighborhood, which is Westwood, is the lack of extracurricular activities for the youth, and that leads to youth gun violence. Hi, my name's Taja Wright. My family resides in the Shelby County limits, Midtown, Fraser area, and I think the most pressing issue would be the children, the youth, the young adults. They need more intentional activities and programs for them, and they need the parentals to actually take them to the things, the events, the things that occupy them, the things that show them other things other than what they're doing right now.
Another topic that always seems to come up during election season is, of course, the economy. People are concerned about the cost of living and having jobs with livable wages. Several businesses recently have left the Memphis area, or they've downsized their workforce, like GXO Logistics, IKEA, Nike, and even FedEx. So many voters are wondering what elected leaders will do to bring in more jobs and more stability.
I'm Mamie Jones. I'm born and bred in Cooper Young. I think one of the most pressing issues is keeping people employed, helping out in the community, keeping people fed, and just overall kindness. That's what all we need in the world.
Hi, I'm Joseph, and I live in Midtown. I think the most precious community matter in Midtown would be lifting each other up and being there for our neighbors. Seeing your neighbors and seeing where they're at, if they need help. It doesn't take but a little bit of time to see somebody in need and help them out, and lift other people up and lift up their voices and support them when they need it.
As you can see, everyone has an opinion about what the issues are, but one thing that we all want is a better and stronger community. They want both elected leaders and neighbors to work together toward change. Each candidate that we spoke to laid out a plan to address these issues and much more, but now it's up to the voters to decide.
All right, so we took your concerns directly to the people that are asking for your vote in the race for Shelby County Mayor. No buzzwords, no interruptions, just answers. There are 7 Democrats hoping to lead the county. After the primary, one of them will go up against the sole Republican that's in the running. ABC 24's Shakina Davis went to the candidates to get answers to the questions that concern you.
In this race, there are 8 candidates competing. Not all candidates were able to participate in this round of questions. Those who responded include J.B. Smiley, John DeBerry, Harold Collins, Mikhail Lowry, Rusty Qualls, and Heidi Kuhn, who submitted a statement with her answers.
The Shelby County mayoral race is heating up, and we asked participating candidates 3 questions. One question we posed: what will you do to increase the extracurricular activities for kids and teens to help curb youth gun violence?
We have to invest early and often in intervention programs. What we did in 2023 as a member of the Memphis City Council, we increased or started investing in a program called Group Violence Intervention. It was a program that the city of Oakland implemented, and we just wanted to learn more about it. What we saw, the results from 2025, from January to September, was a significant decrease in crime amongst youth. We will double investment in programs like that, but we will also support extracurricular activities after school. We have to increase funding for programs that get young people engaged in career-like opportunities, but also in apprenticeship programs. We can get them employed, we can get them out of those harsh situations.
Well, one of the things I always say, that our children make up the future of Shelby County. Unless we concentrate on them, their well-being, their health, their education, we are not going to prosper the way that we should in Shelby County. We've had a brain drain in Shelby County for quite some time. When I look at my grandchildren, one of whom just graduated from college, another who is a junior, both of them will be gone to other areas unless we concentrate on what's good for our young people. We need to bring back summer activities. When I grew up, there were summer activities. There were baseball teams. There were park commissioners. There were lunches in the parks.
We provided a program for middle school students called Do the Right Thing, WRITE. Actually, your station helped supported that program for young people. We asked them to write us essays about violence in their lives and what solutions they would solve it. And we provided them scholarships and trips to Washington, D.C. for a conference with other teens their age to discuss some of the solutions that they brought to us. The second thing we will do is provide mentorships and internships for young people, but not just middle school students, but for high school and college age students, which we already do through our Summer Youth Mayor Experience, where students can partner with division directors in their area or field of what they intend to do or what they intend to major in and participate.
You know, I'm passionate about youth involvement. I was a youth football coach in our community for 13 years. I coached 5 years in Collierville, 5 years in Bartlett, and I coached almost 4 years in Whitehaven. So I know how important it is to have youth athletic involvement. But also, we need to make sure we have more culture activities as well. Not every child is going to play a sport. Listen, I know that personally. I have 3 daughters. One of them is an athlete. The other one doesn't want to do anything athletic. She wants to be a chef. So we need to make sure we're having some more of those resources and training and learning activities in our communities, really in our community centers, because that's where people can walk to and get to the fastest. So I want to partner with the City of Memphis Mayor to make sure we have those activities in our community centers and all throughout Shelby County, because every community should have something that's involved with our youth. We got to take advantage of it.
Shelby County mayoral race candidate Heidi Kuhn says, and I quote, "We cannot arrest our way out of youth gun violence. We have to prevent it. That starts by giving kids and teens safe places to go and real opportunities to grow. As mayor, I will expand after school, weekend, and summer programs across Shelby County by partnering with schools, churches, community centers, and nonprofits. We need more sports, arts, mentorship, job training, and paid internships, especially during the hours when juvenile crime is highest. Young people need structure, supervision, and hope."
So I think it's more so about having some external program outside the school as well. I think it's about partnering with local leaders who are already doing the work. I know we have lost over about 1,800 students in the last 6 to 7 months, so try to work with everybody to get some of those extracurriculars back to be able to navigate the youth to, to put down the guns, stop the crime, and also give them some work to do. We all know it stems from having a lack of money within their pockets, and so tapping into some of those programs to allow them to be able to get some capital for themselves.
Those responses were from 6 of 8 candidates so far. We are still waiting to hear from the remaining candidates, Melvin Burgess and Marie Fagans. We will update this story once their responses are received. In Shelby County, Shakina Davis, ABC 24 News.
Well, certainly a lot to unpack there. A lot of candidates for the mayoral race, especially on the Democratic side. So let's go ahead and turn to our panelists here. Otis, I want to have you start us off here. Okay. A lot was said in there. A lot of forums and debates have happened up until this point. Mm-hmm. Who are the front runners for the Democrats, in your opinion?
Well, I think it's clear at this point that the front runners are J.B. Smiley, Mikael Lowry, Heidi Kuhn. And in terms of discussion and buzz, you have to put Marie Fagans in that group. If you're talking about it in terms of fundraising, and I know money doesn't vote, but money allows you to get your message out. And if you're looking at that, then you really have to look at Smiley, Mikael Lowry, and Heidi Kuhn.
Okay. Now, Mr. Simon, I know you can't pick favorites because you are the Democratic Party chair.
Everybody's my favorite.
But is there an underdog that you think has a chance of coming out on top?
Considering I see potential in every candidate. And when we really think about this whole thing, it's what resonates best with the people. I mean, whoever can get out and go do that grassroots work, engage with the community and actually speak their voice, those people have a chance of coming out. But I do believe that experience matters. And when you start seeing, when you start looking at the whole process of who's going to be the next person to help lead us into the next 4 years of engaging, especially in this climate that we're in right now, you're going to have some experienced people that are used to navigating the convoluted world that we have in politics right now. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, Mr. Provine, as the lone Republican, John DeBerry, what is his strategy after the primaries?
The strategy is to prepare, and that's what we're doing now, organizing, fundraising, being ready to face whoever the Democrat nominee is. And it's going to take a lot of work. It's a lot of community work, a lot of meet and greet personal events with small groups of folks, and an appropriate amount of fundraising to allow him to be able to have the kind of advertising campaign that'll be necessary to win a summertime campaign.
Does the Shelby County GOP kind of already have in mind who they think will come out on top on the Democratic side?
I think it's unpredictable. I think it could be any of probably 2 or 3 of the Democrat candidates. I agree with Otis's assessment. I think we always thought at the beginning that probably Mikel Lowry and J.B. Smiley were the 2 front runners. I think Heidi Kuhn is trending now. I think she may have a shot at this. I've always questioned Marie Fagan's durability in this race. I think a lot of people know of her, but you don't have to have the most money to get elected, but you have to have enough money to get a message out. And I still question her ability to have the money that it's necessary that it would take in a campaign like this to get a message out. I just don't think she has that.
Especially after primaries are over. Otis, let's talk about issues. We heard them kind of go into crime, but what issue will the candidates win on?
Well, obviously, more people are talking about crime, so you can't just set crime aside, especially with what's going on in Memphis and Shelby County right now. We have the task force here. We have still some concerns about sporadic crime, violent crime, shootings. We've had issues over the last several weeks with teenagers getting shot, some of them getting killed. So you can't dismiss the crime factor here. But there's also the issue of the economy. I think you had some people in those sound bites who talked about the economy and jobs and making sure that especially young people have something to do. So the candidates who address those issues in tandem, I think, are the ones who are getting some traction. And I see Mikel Lowry addressing that issue to some great degree, J.B. Smiley as well, and certainly Heidi does as well. So, yeah, I think crime is in the spot right by itself, and everything else sort of is peripheral to that. And if you can address it all in a cogent message, that'll help you in this race.
Yeah, I want to say one thing, and Mr. Simon and Lane, please kind of give in a little bit on this. Decorum. I would actually have to say that the Democrats, especially because there's more than one candidate, have been respectful towards each other. Is that something that you all kind of have in your rules or guidelines of how to do campaigning correctly?
Well, what I say is that, you know, there is a way to engage. I mean, there's a way to disagree and to have a different view without making it a big show. Now, there are some things that on social media that looks like a show. But when you talk to the average voter, those things are not actually, that's not the most profound thing that they're looking at. They're still looking at the issues. I mean, not one thing that happens at those polls are magnified over the fact that we have crime and affordability issues in Shelby County. So those things always supersede when you see the drama, so to speak, in the background.
Okay, Lane, I'll let you have the last point on this because we're going to have to wrap it up and move forward. But just the top issue for you that you think a candidate should spend the most time on.
I think it's threefold. I think it's going to be crime. Public education is going to be a huge issue, especially when this audit is released in full sometime in the next month or two. I think that's going to boil back up to the top with education, and also responsible government. We've got major issues here with regard to the county budget, taxes, the jail, and Regional 1. So I think all three of those issues, public safety, public education, and responsible government, are going to be issues that have to be addressed by the candidates.
Okay, well said, gentlemen. We have a lot to get to, so I'm going to toss it back over to Ruben. Ruben, what's next?
All right. Thanks a lot, Pepper and panelists. A lot of good insight there. Now, as you head towards the May primary, we want to remind you of the qualifications you need to meet to vote in Shelby County. Important information here. Now, you must be a U.S. citizen, got to be at least 18 years old on or before Election Day, which is May 5th. You have to be a resident of Shelby County, and if you've been convicted of a felony, you must have had your voting rights restored. To vote in this election, you will also have to be registered by April 6th, which has already passed, so hopefully you already got that done. If you missed it, you can still register in time for the August election, though, so you can still look ahead. Stay with us, though. We're back after the break with more on Shelby County Votes 2026. Your county, your vote, you decide.
in the city, there's a lot of stuff that goes unnoticed. It doesn't even have to be a crime. It could be something as simple as cleaning an area or people that need help getting jobs. Yeah, just like with homelessness, there's a lot of people who don't have food or homes to eat or sleep in. And I know there's shelters, but the shelters could be overcapacitated, and we need shelters for more people like them, or food so they can eat. And I don't hear or see anything about stuff like that being done.
Well, during this election, the 7 Democrats and sole Republican candidates for Shelby County mayor have made major promises about what they would do if elected.
So that's on issues like crime and education, which you guys just spoke about a minute ago. With so much on the line for Shelby County, how much of what they're saying, though, actually holds up? That's the big question.
That is.
ABC 24's Lauren Turner verifies the claims and the reality voters need to know.
From public safety to schools, candidates for Shelby County mayor are laying out big plans for the county's future. But for voters, the concerns are more immediate. 7 Democrats are vying for the county's top office. Memphis City Councilman J.B. Smiley Jr., County Criminal Court Clerk Heidi Kuhn, County Property Assessor Melvin Burgess, District 8 Commissioner Mikkel Lowry, District Chief Administrative Officer Harold Collins, former Memphis Shelby County School Superintendent Marie Fagans, and businessman Rusty Qualls. And on the Republican side, former State Representative John DeBerry is the sole candidate. As we attend debates and speak with voters, issues like affordability, employment, youth mentorship, and homelessness come up. But one concern stood out nearly every time: crime.
As the leader of Shelby County, it is our responsibility to provide support. Let me be clear, county government is structured such that the sheriff is totally responsible for crime.
The sheriff's office also has support from local municipalities and state and federal agencies when needed. But recent data from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation indicates crime has been trending down. In Memphis, reports show major violent crime has declined significantly in early 2026, with similar downward trends reported across Shelby County.
Just looking at and talking to like some of the people, like repeat offenders, talking to them and, trying to help them so they won't go back out into the community and doing those type of things. And so I think being proactive instead of being reactive to a lot of the things that's happening within Shelby County.
Property crime is also down, according to data from the Memphis Shelby Crime Commission, including a steep drop in car thefts. But while the numbers are improving, for some residents, the feeling of safety hasn't caught up.
Most precious issue that I've experienced personally would be people breaking into cars, smashing windows and stealing some of the contents from the cars in our parking lots.
While certain claims point to progress, others don't always show the full picture. Part of that decline has been linked to targeted enforcement, including federal support from the Memphis Safe Task Force. But it is worth noting, data from the Memphis Police Department showed a drop in crime before the task force began. Since the task force launched in September of 2025, more than 8,000 arrests have been made, including over 1,600 drug and firearm cases and about 1,300 illegal guns taken off the streets. But leaders say this is progress, not a finish line.
You can't say crime is out of control and that people can't go to the mailboxes. And we've got all of these shootings and the murder capital. Remember all of that? Yes. We were saying all of this. And then at the same time say, but, we don't really want to arrest anybody and we don't have any place to put them. So let's just kind of let it keep on going. That's where leadership comes in.
DeBerry is referencing past public comments from national officials when Memphis was described as having one of the highest homicide rates in the country. Alongside crime, education is also a top issue in this race. Right now, Memphis Shelby County Schools is under intense scrutiny. Nearly 20 Memphis area schools have received failing grades from the State Board of Education, and a forensic audit revealing mismanagement, now about 25% complete, along with state oversight of Memphis Shelby County Schools, is raising more questions about the district's future.
The state's responsible for funding as well, so we can't act like we don't need the state when it comes to this. We do, but we need them in the right way. We need Shelby Countyans making sure they're responsible for governing in Shelby County.
The mayor doesn't have any say in what the school board does. We provide funding for the school board, so we need to look at and focus on how we can educate the young and for the betterment of the children.
Shelby County's mayor doesn't control schools directly, but does have influence. We saw an example last fall when Mayor Lee Harris vetoed a resolution to move certain school board elections to this year, even for those midterm, arguing elected terms should not be cut short by county commissioners. School district leaders had already been called to Nashville to present improvement plans. At the same time, state lawmakers have now passed a bill that would put the district under an oversight board, impacting teachers, current board members, and students.
It's upskilling. They want to be able to have their hopes and dreams to come true here, and so it's providing them a pathway to see a way forward from pre-K to paycheck, and that's what's in my plan.
While candidates talk about fixing schools, the district is already facing real consequences. From education to employment, job opportunities remain a top concern.
If you give people good jobs, they're less likely to leave your community. In Shelby County, no matter what anyone say, we have to be a community that is open for businesses. And it's just not just being open for the big businesses that would choose to come to Memphis. We're open for business for the small business.
But some Memphians say they need to hear more, especially about long-term growth.
There was one issue. They were talking about the jail, the capacity and things of that nature, and they were talking about building a new facility, but as far as solving that, whether they were going to raise taxes or delete some other kind of service in Memphis, it really didn't solve that issue.
While a portion of candidates support building a new jail, others favor repurposing the current facility. But the cost to taxpayers still hasn't been clearly addressed. As issues like homelessness and youth programs continue to come up, these mayoral hopefuls are still working to show how their plans would play out.
Are you going to come through? Are you going to say, or are you going to do what you said? My number one thing that I get all the time from people, constituents at my office who come to my office is that they say you got the best customer service that anybody could ever want, and website.
And as Election Day approaches, voters say they're looking past what's being said and paying closer attention to what's backed by facts.
What are we going to do as far as external partnerships to bring to this county to really grow the county to a worldwide renowned Shelby County?
For ABC 24, I'm Lauren Turman.
Now, if you haven't voted yet, you'll want to make sure you have the right ID when you do go. You can show any one of these, even if it's expired. A Tennessee state-issued driver's license with your photo, a U.S. passport, photo ID issued by the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security, federal or Tennessee state government photo ID, United States military photo ID, Tennessee handgun carry permit with your photo. Now, Shelby County Votes 2026, your county, your vote, you decide. It continues after the break.
We just got too many potholes in the city. It's a lot of potholes. Poplar, from South Memphis to Poplar, back to East Memphis. It's just too many potholes around the city. You gonna need some new tires. A pothole causes a wreck our street just regular. I feel like they put too much money into task force. They need to fix our street. They need to fix all our streets.
He's kind of preaching to the choir when it comes about the potholes around here. Ain't nobody mad about him for that one. All right, we're focusing on key races in the Shelby County May primary election. That includes the county's top law enforcement officer. Now, there are 7 candidates hoping to become the next Shelby County sheriff. 5 Democrats: Anthony Buckner, Keisha Scott, Reginald Hubbard, Ricky Pollard, and Michael Pope. Now, there are 2 Republicans as well: Marco Izagari and Brad Less. Now, if you've gone to the Shelby County Clerk's office for car tags or any county-related issues, you probably packed your patience first. You know just how long and complicated that can be at times. Right now, there are actually 11 Democrats and 1 Republican in the race for county clerk. ABC 24 streaming anchor Kevin McNamara joins us now with what some of these candidates have to say about their plans to make the clerk's office more efficient.
Now, a normal crowd that's, you're going to look at is now it's been increased, maybe tenfold. And only with one line, even though they have 3 windows, it's just one line. So something simple as just getting a placard, which would take like 20 minutes, now you're looking at 3 hours.
The Shelby County Clerk's office is one with which nearly everyone in the county has done business with.
It's where you go for car titles and registrations, to apply for a business license, a marriage license, and pay certain city, county, and state taxes. As you just heard, it's also been a source of frustration for many with those long lines, technology breakdowns, and many other issues that have plagued the office. We wanted to bring that directly to the candidates running for the position, and our Pepper Baker spoke to 5 of the 11 candidates about just that. Here's what they had to say.
And so my plan is trying to address all of them. And so my plan is boiled down to 3 things that everybody can remember, A, B, C. It's a principal argument of thinking, but that's automation, better pay, and customer focus. And so there are many redundant remedial tasks that happen in the clerk's office where we're having these clerks to do things that computers and software can just do without trying, and they'll get it done more accurately. And so if you can automate those tasks, right, then you can, and you deal with the morale and pay the employees better, they should be analyzing it, not collecting it. They shouldn't be creating reports and doing manual reports. They should be analyzing them. And so then you pay them for their expertise. There are a lot of laws that are associated with a tag and a title and business license and marriage license and how you store that information. So we should be paying and retaining the best and brightest talent so that we're handling that.
So when we think about, the opportunities for us to reduce the service times and get people out of these long lines, to modernize our systems, this office is operating off of Windows 7. And I don't know how many people have tried to do that, but that all contributes to some of these even customer service complaints that I'm hearing from people. And we know that we need the technology to serve our interests, and this is the age of AI. Like, things should be able to move efficiently, and we should be able to have an accessible platform that doesn't leave people confused when they come to the office. So it has a number of challenges, but I believe I'm the right leader for right now to be able to come in and fix them for sure.
The very first challenge that we have under efficiency is customer service. I have traveled all over this county, and that is the #1 complaint that I get, that the customer service delivery, they're having to wait in long lines, and then when they get to the counter, they're not treated with respect. Citizens want to feel the value of their time. If they're spending 2-3 hours in a line, they want to feel that when they finally get to the counter, at least there's someone who's empathetic to what they've been through. I every morning pass by the Whitehaven satellite site, and I watch the lines, and I see people arriving as early as 6 o'clock in the morning with chairs because they fully anticipate no seats. They're sitting in the lines, in the elements, in the ice cold, in the heat, in the rain, waiting to get served. So I offer to Shelby County citizens a Chick-fil-A level of customer service. I contend that when you go to Chick-fil-A, whatever you're going to buy, the treatment there is that you are valued. They appreciate your business. So we want to make sure that we usher in a new level of customer service, a Chick-fil-A customer service. And I am even determined to bring in customer service representatives to actually provide professional development and training to employees, because they have to feel respected and heard as they're doing the jobs.
And so the county clerk's office can't do business in the way that it should. It's allowing for leases to lapse, which means that you're trafficking all of the traffic and all of the customers to a few locations. The relationship with the BIS, which is the business system that operates the county clerk's office, kiosk is strained, and so the kiosks aren't working. The county clerk's office is operating on Windows 7, I believe, still. And so systems are shutting down often. And then there's just really tarred relationships. And so it's a matter of, yes, reimagining the business process, but also reestablishing those relationships and just simply signing the contracts that need to be signed. We have to do business.
Replace all of the money counters, replace all of the credit card readers, replace all of the printers, replace all of the computers. Me personally, I would do a campaign because everybody talk about the kiosks. Right. I would put kiosks all over the county, work in conjunction with either the municipalities and their libraries, or the sheriff station out in Arlington. Find places where you can put the kiosks and actually allow individuals to have access. Under me, one of my things is ACE, accessibility, customer service, and education. When we talk about the computers and giving people access to, because they don't understand, if you hold on to your registration, you hold on to that card that they send you in the mail, you can walk into a kiosk and actually get your renewal in about 2 minutes. That's all it takes. So if you have the availability of those all over the county, then you don't have to come downtown. You take some of the stress off of the satellite locations so that they can deal with the more pressing issues and when people have more complicated things that they need to get done.
Right.
So you take that out of the mix.
Clerks are elected for 4-year terms, and there are 7 branch offices throughout the county offering a variety of services. Again, there are 11 people running in the Democratic primary for this position, and whoever wins will run against the lone Republican candidate coming up later in the general election.
All right, so we're going to bring in the panel on both the sheriff's race and the county clerk's race, and a lot to tackle here. As you can see, a lot of Democratic candidates once again, especially for the clerk's race. So I'm going to open it up to Lane Provine here. So this is the sheriff's race is the only one that actually is contested on the Republican side with the 2, Marco Izagari and Jonathan Bradley Less. So what can you tell us about their strengths and weaknesses?
I think both of them have run spirited campaigns. They've both been out all across the county. I've seen both of them in the city, in the suburbs, in North Shelby County, both working very hard. Fundraising has been a challenge. I think both have run pretty heavily with social media. Marco's run a pretty heavy sign campaign, and it's going to be very interesting to see which one wins. We are having a small turnout in the primary, and I think either man could win the primary. I think either one of them will be a very strong nominee for the party.
Okay, and Otis, we know Anthony Buckner is on the Democratic side. Is he a shoe-in here?
Well, I mean, you never want to say shoe-in, but he's the closest thing to it that I've seen. He's run a really nice race. There's no real controversy, even despite all of the issues that the jail has with overcrowding, with the dilapidated conditions. Nobody has been able to blame him for it, even though he is the deputy chief, I believe. He has run a really smart campaign. He's a likable guy. I think it has helped him. Whenever there's an issue, a breaking news issue that involves the Shelby County sheriffs, he's been the one that's been the face of it, explaining what's going on, giving information to the public. So he's basically, Floyd Bonner has pretty much allowed him to be de facto the sheriff lately. And I just think that, yes, he is the odds-on favorite here. And even though the 2 Republicans have run spirited races, I see Mr. Izagari's signs everywhere, especially in my neighborhood in Cordova. I think whoever wins that Republican primary is going to be a long shot to win in August.
Okay, Mr. Simon, I want you to make the last note on this before we turn to the county clerk's race. But just for the sheriff's side and the Democrats, what do you think that people may not or should be paying attention to, the voters who still have yet to vote?
Well, they should be paying attention to every voice when it comes to understanding what the jail process is right now, because a lot of people just look at the jail as, oh, that's the place where everybody goes. But look at, and we got criminals there, but we got people that are there that are not just hardcore criminals, and they end up in that space. And so look at the players and the candidates that are speaking to all those things, whether it be behavior, health, and how do you handle that? How do you handle situations where you have overcrowding? Just listen to the messaging behind that before, as you make your decisions, and look at who would be best to carry those things out.
Okay, we'll switch to county clerk now, and Lane, I'll ask you this. I know there's 11 Democratic candidates, 1 Republican. I'm just going to ask you on a blanket, just candidate question here. What would it take to undo all the mess that we've reported on in the county clerk's office?
A competent person elected county clerk. I think that's really what it comes down to. I think that's something that Republicans and Democrats would agree with. That we need somebody in there who's competent and responsible. The Republican nominee, Tina Montgomery, has over 30 years experience in corporate nonprofit finance. She's an accountant by trade, and she's someone who understands what it's like to solve problems and to improve service delivery. I think a very strong candidate for Republicans. The Democrat side, a lot of candidates, several that kind of stand out. I think Lasagna Hall stands out in terms of the fact she's raised $100,000, which is a lot of money for a candidate for county clerk. She seems to have the organization, and certainly the money is going to allow her to afford the advertising. But I wouldn't rule out somebody like Benny Smith, who's got a lot of connections and some name ID, has been involved in Democrat politics for a long time. So I still think that's a competitive primary, and I think this is going to be a very competitive general election right here. This is a down ballot race that people are actually going to pay attention to, because most everyone has had an experience with the county clerk's office over the last several years, and that experience for most people has been very negative.
And Otis, a lot of Democratic candidates have actually worked in that office. Are they part of the problem, or can they fix the problem?
Well, they'll have to answer that. And it's how they answer that is going to be telling here. I do think, to Lane's point, somebody competent is the person that needs to be in this office. I think the county clerk's race over the last 2 cycles has basically been ignored by the voters in terms of really paying attention to it. And then we saw what happened. We had a perfect storm of problems when we changed license plates from white to blue, and it was a mess down there, and it continued to be a mess. And the problem was the current clerk kept blaming everybody else. And so now this race, probably more so than any of the races, especially the clerk races, is the most important, because pretty much everybody, any adult in town, has to have some interaction with the clerk's office. And so competence is important. I do agree that LaSonia Hall has run a very organized campaign. The money that she's raised speaks volumes. She's a likable person. But let's not discount some of the others as well. I mean, you mentioned Benny Smith, Mike Williams is in that race as well. So it's going to be a very interesting race to watch on election night. But if you were asking me about favorites, you have to say LaSonia Hall is near the top in terms of favorites.
Okay, I'm going to have Willie wrap it up for us. Last question here. This is probably one of the most candidates on the Democrats, one of the races with the most candidates. So you have 11. Why did so many people want to sign up for something that seemed like such an uphill battle?
Well, everybody talks about touch points. The Shelby County Clerk's Office is a touch point for everybody in Shelby County. So you may not interact with county court, the court clerk's office, I mean any of those other offices, but that one, everybody's got to touch it. Right. You're going to get married, got to go there.
Exactly.
Business, you got to go there. And so it's important that you have someone that understands processes and how to improve processes and make sure you have the things in place to improve that whole interaction. And so I believe we have candidates that have been there, done that, and understand the process behind it. And I believe that we have some candidates that have some great solutions that they've come up with, because sometimes you have to evaluate long enough before you initiate those things.
All right, great insight, gentlemen. We'll be back with you all in just a bit for our last panel discussion, but we're going to take it back to Ruben. Tell us what's next.
All right, Pepper and gentlemen, great discussion there as well. A lot to digest on those topics as well. What happens, though, when you show up to the polls and the poll worker does not find your name on the voter list? Well, don't turn around. Believe it or not, you can still vote. Just ask for a provisional ballot. After you've made your selection, that ballot is then sealed in an envelope and placed into a locked box. All provisional ballots must be counted within 4 days after Election Day. And we're back with more Shelby County Votes 2026. Your county, your vote, you decide, right after this break.
We need more investment in the youth. It's a lot of talented kids in our community. We have a business in our community called Coffee Black, where we hire folks in our neighborhood and folks in the city. And I think there needs to be more investment in the youth. Right now, it seems like there's really not much opportunity for them after school, or people exposing them to other job opportunities. And if we could invest more into our youth, I think that will really create a change. They're so talented, have so many great ideas, but oftentimes there's nowhere for them to put them.
All right, we are going to talk about a national issue that will have local implications. A major Supreme Court decision this week weakens a landmark voting rights law's protections against discrimination in redistricting. It's a provision known as Section 2. In a 6-3 ruling down party lines, SCOTUS voided a majority black congressional district in Louisiana, which boosts Republican chances in the midterm. Now, the court's conservative majority opens the door for Republican-led states to eliminate minority districts that tend to favor Democrats and affect the balance of power in Congress. And it's already having a ripple effect here at home. You're taking a look here. Within hours of the ruling, Tennessee Senator and gubernatorial candidate Marsha Blackburn posted on Facebook, "I urge our state legislature to reconvene to redistrict another Republican seat in Memphis. It's essential to cement Donald J. Trump's agenda and the golden age of America. I've vowed to keep Tennessee a red state, and as governor, I'll do everything I can to make this map a reality." She's practically pushing to eliminate Congressional District 9, which is currently held by Democratic Congressman Steve Cohen of Memphis.
Is eliminating the 9th district as a Democratic stronghold and as a district where the majority minority population, African Americans, make the decision on who their congressperson is going to be. That will end. The Supreme Court said they can be racist and they can be discriminatory against minority populations and use race as covertly to create partisan advantage. They've said you can gerrymander for partisan purposes, and you can draw districts that aren't contiguous and aren't compact. The only thing you can't do is use race. But the reality is they're going to use race, and that's what's going to happen.
Otis, I will have you open it up here. So a lot to, again, unpack, a lot of ground to cover. I know you have reaction from this, so I'm going to let you just take it away.
Well, I mean, I was floored with the decision, first of all. But I shouldn't have been surprised. We got a 6-3 super majority conservative Supreme Court. But look at the practical matter here. We're talking about basically a threat to eliminate a congressional district that encompasses Memphis with about 600,000 residents here. That's right. 65% at least are African Americans. And you're talking about figuring out how to carve that up. And Marsha Blackburn is advocating this. You're carving it up, by bringing in District 8, which is Kustoff's district, then bringing in District 7. You may have to bring in another one somewhere to get all of it in to totally dilute Memphis. I just don't know how this happens. But the map that was accompanying Marsha Blackburn's tweet here, or her post, had the entire state red. Well, we know what that aim is. I'm the elder statesman on this panel, and I was 13 years old, 12 years old in 1965 when the Voting Rights Act was passed. And it was passed after Selma, the violence in Selma, and Lyndon Johnson passed it, and he did it with bipartisan support, and now we are going back to that era. I thought I was living with George Wallace, Lester Maddox, Ross Barnett. That is what we have right now with this atrocious decision, and it's a sad day for Memphis, and it's a sad day for America.
Lane, I would like you to kind of react to that before we get to you, Willie. So, Republicans in the Supreme Court made this decision, and with the rhetoric of that it isn't supposed to deal with race, but is it racially motivated?
Yeah, I think what the Supreme Court majority said is that you draw the lines and you don't have to take race into consideration. You draw the lines based on political considerations, and some states will draw mostly blue districts, some states will draw mostly red districts, some states they'll be more evenly divided. Other states only have one congressional district, so it's not an issue, or maybe just have 2 or 3 districts where it's less of an issue. It's not an issue in Arkansas, for example, where they have 4 districts and all 4 districts are Republican. And, what's going to come out of this in Tennessee is there are going to be 9 Republican districts. The map that was seen, passed around on X and Facebook today, I don't think that is the map that will actually take place. I don't think there is a map at this point in time, but I do believe that Shelby County will be divided into 3 congressional districts, which Shelby County was divided into 3 congressional districts not that long ago by the Democrat majority in the state legislature when the county was divided among 3 districts, 7, 8, 9. And the Republican legislature changed that. It's now divided between 2 districts. They're simply going to change it again where it's divided by 3 districts, the same way Davidson County is divided by 3 districts. And this is what happens when what we saw happen in Virginia happened. And some could say, well, that's because of Texas or because of California. But essentially, you're just going to see that Republican states have a redder congressional delegation than they have had. Democrat states are going to have bluer congressional delegations, and I don't know that this will change a lot nationally, but certainly here, I expect we'll have an additional Republican congressional seat in Shelby County.
How likely do you think that the Tennessee legislature will actually reconvene the way Senator Blackburn is asking?
I'd say the chance is 100% they're going to redraw the district. Whether they do it this year or wait till next year so it would take effect for the 2028 election, that to me is the big question, because if it is going to be done for this year's election, the process has to begin soon, like within the next week. It's about an 8-week process to convene the legislature, to debate, consider a map, pass a map, go through the whole process that will be necessary to get these maps out there, have a new qualifying period, and to allow folks to be able to run in the August primaries preceding the November general election. So if it's going to happen for the 26th election, it has to happen very soon.
Wow.
But it's going to happen. The question is, will it be for this election cycle or will it be for the 28 election cycle in Tennessee?
Wow. Willie, as a Democrat, the Democratic Party chair here in Shelby County, what should the Democrats and minority voters be worried about?
When we talk about lines, and when I saw that map, I see two things. You mentioned the Selma Bridge. I see Bloody Sunday. And I see a red map. And then I also see a red map, and I see in my mind a movie in the 1980s called Red Dawn, where we saw that Russians came over and took over America and just walked in and took over certain parts of the country. And the people had to stand up in that movie and fight against those things. And what I'm saying right now is we talk about just drawing lines. We're actually talking about drawing lines through somebody's representation. It's not just drawing a line on the map. You've actually told a group of people that you don't care about what they think. And so that's what I'm saying. And so, I believe that whatever Marsha Blackburn, Marsha says, that's what she's going to do. And I believe that if we respond in that way and we reconvene and come to the idea that we're just drawing lines, we're fooling ourselves here. We're seeing all this stuff is stimulated by control, stimulated by, and we don't want to say it's racial, but it is racial because we're in Shelby County, and we're we have approximately 600 and some odd thousand people here that are going to get disenfranchised with no representation. And I think that's atrocious. I think we need to look at this thing as not just drawing lines, but I think Democrats and voters need to draw a line in the sand now. It's time to fight. It's time to stand up and not let this thing happen without our voices being heard.
Let me address something, a couple of things that Lang said here. The history of the redistricting that took districts 7 and 8 out, they were done by Republicans. And they were done because Marsha Blackburn used to be the District 7 congresswoman. And she didn't want to have anything else to do with Shelby County. That's basically what happened here. So they drew her lines out of Shelby County. And basically the same thing with David Kustoff in 8, although District 8 still has some Shelby County in it. But now that the Supreme Court has made this decision, now they say, okay, let's go back in there now. And because you can't consider race because of the just gutting the Voting Rights Act. Now let's go back in and do even more what we did in Nashville and carve up Memphis and just take it all for ourselves. That's the message here. And if Marsha Blackburn wants to be the governor of Tennessee, she should be the governor of all of Tennessee.
That's right.
And this message that I saw in her post says she cares absolutely nothing about Memphis, and the majority of residents in Memphis, they don't matter to her. And she's running for governor. And so, again, this is an atrocious thing. Steve Cohen had the right word here. This is pure racism, and there's no way to get around it. And I know when I use that word, and even when Steve and others use this word, a lot of people recoil as a result of it, but let's call it what it is here. This is pure racism. To take a Supreme Court decision, which was wrong-headed in the first place, and turn it into a way for Republicans to have a total control of Tennessee is one of the worst things I've seen in a long time.
Lane, you have the last point here, if you'd like it.
I would say one thing here is that Shelby County, under a new map, instead of having 2 members of the U.S. House of Representatives who represent this county, we're going to have 3 representatives representing the county. So in my opinion, it's more representation for Shelby County as opposed to less representation. And it's not about race. It's strictly about party. It's about obtaining another Republican congressional seat. Republicans control the legislature. Marsha Blackburn tweeted about this issue today, but she's not going to decide the issue, even if she's elected governor this year, which I think she will be. This decision is going to be made by the General Assembly, whether they make that decision in 26 or whether they make that decision in 27 with regard to the 28 elections. But it's going to be a legislative decision, and at the end of the day, Shelby County is going to end up with 3 members of Congress representing the county, not 2.
All right.
I'm sorry if you're saying it's not about race. This is no slap on you, my friend, but that's a naive statement because it is about race completely.
It's about obtaining another Republican congressional district. That's what the Republican
and that
majority
is
in the
de
legislature
facto. That is de facto about race when you're dealing with it in the state of Tennessee.
All right, gentlemen, that one was tense, and there's more to come from that conversation, so it is the story that keeps on giving. We'll be back with more Shelby Votes 2026 after the break.
It could be done really, like, it could be more houses, rebuilding the neighborhood, like take all the abandoned houses and put more people in it. Like, some of them burnt down, some of them, messed up. They completely messed up. We need new ones, rebuild. Real estate, that's what we need in the community, real estate. More people to come out, make the community better. They'll maybe want to come back if it's brand new, remodel, everything, people will come out, want to buy the houses and everything.
Tennessee lawmakers advanced Bill 774, which would create a state-appointed oversight board for Memphis Shelby County schools.
A hot button topic.
Very much so.
To say the least. With 4 school board seats up for election, questions are now being raised about what power those elected members would actually have at this point.
Right.
ABC 24's Ezekiel Telemaco joins us in studio with why one board member says voters should still care.
That's right. There's definitely a lot of mixed feelings based on all the MSCS school board members. Again, they all voted unanimously against a state intervention with Bill 774 clearing the House and the Senate. But even with the proposed state oversight board, the elected board would still not go away. Again, members would still be chosen by the Shelby County voters, but under Bill 774, they would have to report to a state-appointed committee overseeing MSCS.
Being an elected board member, when I came into the seat, I know the people elected me to do a job that did not include a board of managers.
The future of Memphis Shelby County Schools governance is still taking shape. Bill 774 has already cleared both the Tennessee House and the Senate and would create an appointed oversight committee to monitor the district, adding another layer above the elected school board. But that has also raised a big question for voters. If the state is stepping in, should people still care about who sits on the board? As of right now, 4 school board seats are up for election, but those seats on the ballot came after months of a long legal fight. Last year, lawmakers passed legislation to align the school board elections with county races in 2026. That move would have cut some board members' terms short. Shelby County commissioners approved that alignment in October, and then in December, the MSCS school district filed a lawsuit against the Shelby County Election Commission, claiming that state leaders and commissioners worked together to punish board members who voted to terminate former Superintendent Marie Fagan's contract. In February, a judge ruled in favor of the MSCS school district, keeping only 4 seats currently on the ballot. Now, with the oversight board potentially on the way, District 5 board member Sable Ote says voters still have a role to play.
Well, it's very important for people to still come out and exercise their right to vote because student outcomes are not determined by the politics. At the end of the day, we still have to focus on building strong, healthy schools.
Ote says the board wanted more collaboration from the state, including support and resources to help fix longstanding district issues.
Now, we all did not want that as a board. I think we wanted more collaboration. We wanted more of the state to provide resources. If an advisory team was available or an option, that would have been amazing. If the issue is we have antiquated systems, let's look at how we can provide the school district with better systems. I think if we were having more hands-on assistance in that way, I think I would have been super excited about everything. But in the way everything happened, I just think that, expecting it, and it just kind of like a little bit of a surprise when it actually did.
She also emphasized the importance of participation at the ballot box.
It's important to vote because the number one, simplest, the easiest way to make an impact in our community is to exercise your right to vote. And everyone knows that our ancestors vote very, very hard to actually have that opportunity to do so. And so it's very important to make sure your voice is heard, and we do that through voting.
Bill 774 is now waiting for the signature of Tennessee Governor Bill Lee. And if signed into law, the Oversight Board would be appointed, but the Shelby County voters would still have to elect school board members. Reporting live in the studio, I'm Ezekiel Telemaco, ABC 24 News.
What bothers me the most about my neighborhood is that it's a lot of like stereotyping when it comes to my neighborhood. It's like I feel like once you do time, because I have been involved in justice system, it's like it's hard to find housing, and like they count it against you. Like once you done already paid your debt to society, it's like you never can live it down. It's like, and then they look at these people like the homelessness, they look at them and they look down on them, but if it was more resources, then you wouldn't have that.
Well, tonight you have heard directly from the people who want to lead Shelby County and our political contributors.
Yeah, but most importantly, the voice you heard the most was still yours. ABC 24 has complete coverage of Tuesday's Shelby County May primary. We have teams spread out all across Shelby County bringing you live updates that day.
That's starting at 6 a.m. before the polls open, and stay with us throughout the day until the final results come in. We will also have extended coverage on 24 Plus starting at 7 p.m. Every issue we talked about, our schools, our safety, our future, comes down to one simple choice. Will you show up?
Yep, that's the million-dollar question. From all of us here at ABC 24, thank you for being part of this conversation. Pepper, amazing job on the panelists tonight as well. Now,
good job too, Ruben. You did great.
I do good at this part right here. Now be a part of the decision. That's what matters. Good night.
Good night.